In this video, we go from this to this. Yeah! I'm back in Home Assistant. I do spend a lot of time here. But in the last few videos that I've done with Home Assistant and the different things, and especially automations, I've had a few comments both, below in the comments, but also, messages and whatever saying, why don't you use Node-RED? I'm like, yeah, okay, I've heard of Node-RED. Yeah, I'll get to it. And today is that day. I'm getting to it. Exactly. So Node-RED, let's just start there. Node-RED is and I've got the node-red.org page open here. Node-RED is a low-code programming language, or not, it's not a language, it's all JavaScript, but it's a low-code programming visualization of event-driven applications. So it's not just for Home Assistant, it just works really well for Home Assistant and automations in particular. So I'm going to delve into that today. I'm going to install it, I'm going to use it, I'm going to try and set up an automation I already have, but in Node-RED instead, so we can sort of compare them. But Node-RED was made in 86. Not in 86, no, in 2016 by IBM, or two people from IBM, and it was quickly open sourced after that, and I think it's part of OpenJS Foundation now or something like that. But there's a very nice way of integrating it with the Home Assistant, among other things, so we're going to do that. But if you want to know more about Node-RED, here is the node-red.org website, blah, 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 tells you about what it is, built on Node.js, it runs in all sorts of places, and if you want to know more about it, you can click on About, etc., etc., etc. That's not the aim of going through that today. So I'm going to go through it in Home Assistant. Okay, so and just to be clear, I haven't actually used it before, Node-RED. So you're going to join me on this journey of discovery, where I'm going to install it in Home Assistant. I'm going to try to use it for the first time, because I figured, well, maybe that's where you are as well. So I have read up on it a little bit, so I kind of have half an idea what to do, but I haven't actually done it before in Home Assistant. So I'm here on my weather panel, just because it's pretty. You can see it's kind of cold here now. It's 9 degrees. It was -3 this morning. Yes, it's winter in Australia. It does get cold here. So first thing is I go to my settings, and it's under the add-ons. So this is the part of Home Assistant that isn't an integration, it's an add-on. So it's a tool that works with Home Assistant. We're not trying to integrate another service into Home Assistant. We're trying to use a tool on Home Assistant. So I've got a few here already, Grafana, File Editor, etc. So I'm going to add a new one with the add-on store. And in here, I just simply search for Node, and it comes up there. It's that simple. Someone's already done all the hard work, as always in Home Assistant. The community is amazing. And all you have to do is click on it, and wait, apparently. All right, so here's the product page for Node-RED, I guess, for the Home Assistant community add-on. And we can see here, we can scroll down, you see it's Frank. Frank is pretty prolific on Home Assistant, and if you want to sponsor his work on Patreon or wherever else, you can do that too. He does a lot of good work. So you can see a little bit about the application. There's a half an idea of what it's going to look like. You can see it's all flow-based, so it's all visual, UI type stuff. But we're going to click the install button and install the add-on. We wait. And while we wait, if you didn't see my last video, I got a drone. Yeah, so I'm not going to use it today in this video, except for this llama shot. Yeah, you're welcome. But go and check out the video if you want. It's linked up there. And here we are. So now Node-RED is installed, and we have to start it. We have to start the add-on for it to work. So obviously click start. Now, one thing is, if you ever wondered the little icons on the left here, where do they come from? One of the ways is you can click, toggle a little button here saying show in sidebar, which I like to do if it's a tool I use a lot. So I'll just click that. You can see now here on the left we have Node-RED. So there's an icon for Node-RED. But I'm going to start the add-on. That doesn't take long. There we go. And now it's good to go. That's all you had to do. Now we can use Node-RED, I'm assuming, unless I missed something, but we'll find out. All right, and I'll go to on the left here, there's a little Node-RED sign, and oh, bad gateway. All right, so we got an error. Let's just go back to it here. Has it actually stopped? Yep, so it crashed. All right, so then we go to the log because something's missing, obviously. And we'll have a look down here. So this is what just happened. Aha, configuration of this add-on is incomplete. All right, so there's something I missed. Please be sure to set the credential secret option. So I got to set the credential secret option. It says that it's an encryption token, much like a password used by Node-RED for encrypting credentials you put into Node-RED. Just like password, credential, yada yada yada, to be sure it's somewhere safe for later. Alright, so I am going to create a secret password here. Always use LastPass for that, and I'm going to store it in my notepad over here off the screen so I can use it. So we can see, alright, so it's in the credential, in the configuration, so we can just click on the configuration. Let's make sure we just saved it. I'll copy that so I can add it. Here's the configuration. Aha! So you can see that our credential secret is not set. So I'm going to grab the password that I made before, and there we go, add that to it. I don't have any password username for HTTP nodes. I think that's fine. Okay, SSL. No, I'm actually not using SSL on my home assistant. That might be a future video. And we save that. And let's see if we can start it up now. Alright, let's go back to the info. We're going to start Node-RED again. What if we click open the web UI, Node-RED. Aha, there we go. Okay, so if you get the 502 bad gateway, in my case, I just didn't have the token in there, which is basically just a password. Make sure you save that password somewhere though. And now it's going to load all the flows and the nodes. I actually don't have anything yet because we just started it. So now we got Node-RED running. Hooray! Okay, so here's our work area. There's a little tutorial thing here. Yeah, anyway, there we go. Close the wizard. So on the left here, we can see we have all our different nodes. These are the API, call service, all those here. We have our work area in the middle. Obviously, that's where all the magic happens. That's why it's the largest area. And then on the right, we have some info. I'm guessing there's going to be around what the nodes are. Okay, so let's try and create a flow. So I'm going to use the events state. So it says here, it's a changed event type sent from home assistant. So it's state event types, state changed event types. That's what we want. So the flow that I'm going to create is one, actually, I'll just show you where it is already. If I go to settings, go to automations. So in here is, I have an automation called turn off outside lights when day brightens. So if I go into that, you can see here that I have a light sensor, here on the trigger. So I have a farm light sensor that I put up in a different video. I'll link that up here as well if you want to check out what that does. And when it is above 200 lumens, so that's a light measurement, then we trigger it, so that's the trigger. And then we have an action which says turn the light off, all the outdoor lights. So that's a fairly simple automation where I use a Akara light sensor with all of my outdoor lights, which are Philips Hue mainly. There's a few others as well. So we're going to try and make that in Node-RED. You can also do it in YAML. So if you go up here, you can say edit in YAML, and there's the whole YAML for how that works. There's this one thing here I just see I missed here. Forgot to say. There's a duration of 5 minutes, So if the light has to be over 200 lumens for over 5 minutes, then we switch it off. So there's a condition as well. So we're going to do all that in Node-RED, hopefully. I'm going to go back here, click on Node-RED, very handy on the side here. It's going to load everything for me. So I'm going to drag out events state out here. And you can see, so it says state changed, all entities. Now I can double click on it, and that'll open up the properties screen, which is here, and I can give it a proper name. So let's say the light is fading, right? Because we want it to go down when the light goes down or gets darker. And the entity, well, we want see if we can find, actually let's search for farm light sensor. So there it is. It has 3 different properties, the sensor. Has the actual light level, it has a battery level and a temperature for the sensor, not the temperature outside. So the light level is what we want, and we want to say when it is exact. Yep. Oh, so you can have an entity substring. So you can match on it. Yep, very good. And if the state is greater than, and then we're going to put 200, and then 4, so you can see here's all the same kind of sections, but it's much more intuitive, I think. This makes much more sense to my developer brain, I'm just saying. And state type, I actually don't know what the state type is. I'm assuming it's a string. I probably pre-populated that. Okay, so here is the properties for it. So I'm saying the name of it is light is fading. The server is Home Assistant, yes, because that's where we're running it. So again, Node-RED can run at other things than Home Assistant, but we're using Home Assistant. The entity that we want to monitor is the farm light sensor, and we want the state to be above 200. So that's lumens that it measures, but above 200 of what that sensor gives us. And it has to be that for at least 5 minutes. Yeah? All right, cool. And then we just click done. Okay, so just before we continue with the action for our event here, let's just, we can double click on the flow as well. We'll just give it a better name, eh? I think that would probably be good. So we're gonna say, call this turn off lights at dawn or something like that, right? And we can click done. And now we have a better name for it. That's probably good. And the other thing I want to do is I want to just zoom in. So down here, there's a plus button, just so we can see it a little bit better because it was a bit small. Okay, so now we know the light is fading. So we'll just go over that again here. I'll click on that, double click rather. Farm light sensor, if a state is less than 200 and is more than and it is that for more than 5 minutes, then we want to turn off the light, right? That's the whole idea at sunrise or dawn. So I'm going to take the call service node, I'm going to drag that out here, and then we can see there's two outputs here. There's a true and a false. If state is true, if state is false. So we can actually have two different flows now going. Now for now, we're only going to use the true, but for example, I could say, well, if the light comes back up, I want to turn it on. Now, that is a good idea, but it's not what I'm going to do just in this video just yet. I don't want to make it too complicated, also because this is my first time using it. I'm not cheating. So we're going to call a service. If the state is true, I'm going to double click on that, and you can see here we can give it a name. So we're going to call this turn off rather, outdoor lights. So that's going to be the service, the name of it. And now the server's Home Assistant, it's always going to be that for my purposes, but you could have Node-RED control other things. Our domain here is going to be light, because we're working with lights. The service we want to call is turn off. So again, this is the lights come on at 6 AM right now. When it's light enough, well, we want to turn it off. I just paused there because I just realized, hang on. If we turn the lights off at dawn, we want it when it's greater than 200, doesn't it? Let me just fix that in a minute, because we want to be above 200, not below. See? Logic. Anyway, the service we want to do is we're going to turn off the lights, and the areas, I already have an area that I've created in Home Assistant, which Node-RED now picks up, which is very cool. And I'm going to say it's the outdoor lights that we're going to switch off. And that's it. I don't actually have to do anything else. Now, if I wanted to, I can put a whole bunch of data points on here. So you can see here, there's a data segment, and I can click on the little thing here, and I can actually set more like expressions and functions and stuff. So there's a whole bunch you can do with these services. This is just one node, which is call service. And if I wanted to, I can see at the bottom here, there's the properties for turning the light off if I wanted to add more properties for the output. But for now, this is fine. And again, as I said, I'm just going to go back to light fading here. And we want this to be above 200 for more than 5 minutes, not below. Aha. All right. Oops. I'm glad we fixed that. And click on done on that. Okay, so this is a very simple flow. I am aware of that, but that was the whole idea. Again, it's my first time. It might be yours first time seeing this. We just wanted to keep it simple and base it off something I already had in Home Assistant. So maybe if you even don't have existing automations, you can still jump straight into this. This might be a better way, but at least we have something to compare it to now. So the next step is I want to deploy this. I want to actually use it. And that's the big red button up here that says deploy. And there's 3 different ways of deploying it: full, modified flows, modified nodes. So I could just deploy the nodes that I've changed, or just the flows that I've changed. And if you have many flows, hundreds or whatever, it might be a better way of doing it. But for now, it's the first time, I just want full deploy. So I just click on full, which is what it already was on. And I click deploy. And it goes really quick, successfully deployed. And then we should get, in a minute, there we go, running. So now the trigger is running, right? The flow is running. You can see here that this event state a state change event rather, is running and is ready to trigger. Now there's one extra thing that I just want to add, which I like, that I read about, and this is debug node here. So I can get debug information out of my nodes. So I can have here, you can see there's an output here. You can see on the node here, there's an output of what happens, and I can just drag that over to the debug node. And now there's a link here. I can double click on the debug node as always, and I can actually get the debug information not just in the window of node red, but also to the system console, which is where the rest of my logging information is. So that's quite nice. And just click done on that. But that means now I get debug information as well. So if something does go wrong or something goes right, I can go in and see what happened. And that'll be good initially when you're creating new flows, because you might not know what happened. And it can be a real pain to debug, but this makes it much easier. So that's a nice little feature on that as well. So, okay, you might be wondering, what are all the rest of the nodes here on the left? What are they going to do? Because there's a lot. You can see I scroll down here and they just keep going and going and going and going. And you know what? I don't know what they all do. Obviously, this is the first time using it. But the ones I do like are up here under function, because this is my developer brain going, oh, these are really useful. For example, I could have a switch statement. So if I didn't have a true and false here, let's say I had a toggle switch, for example, I could have a switch statement that would say, well, if it's on, I want to do this. If it's off, I want to do something else, like turn off a light, or whatever it might be. I can have functions. I can change things. This is kind of a neat thing. Set, change, delete, and move properties of a message, flow context or global context. And there's a whole bunch more. Like you can have templates you run. You can execute actual programs. Runs a system command and returns the output. So whatever that might be that you want to run. But there's so many cool things here that you can do. And again, all you have to do is just say you wanted to change. You just add that. You add a flow thing here or a connection. And there you go. You just double click on that. And now you can set the properties for that change node. It is that simple. It's very cool. Very, very cool. So I do have a couple of questions because, yes, this is really my first time. And there are things that I'm not quite sure of how they work. For example, can I see how the sausage is made? Can I see the cookie dough being created in the background? Like, as in, where's the YAML, where's the code? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you know. Can I actually see what the JavaScript is that goes behind this? And if I can't or can, why not? Like, is there a point to it? Do I really want to see it? Maybe not. And then the main question I had was, does this actually override my existing automation, or do they clash? How do I know? And I don't think there is a way. So if I go back to my settings here and I go to my automations, this thing that I just created is not in here, right? It's not a Home Assistant automation. So I now have two automations that kind of do the same. So obviously I might want to disable this one, which is the one we just recreated, right? In the morning when there's more light. So if I go back here, I might want to undo that one. So if you have existing automations, they're probably going to clash, is my expectation. So I'm going to turn them off and see if they work. And then we can get to the pros and cons. If I go back into Node-RED here, the pro for me obviously is that this is super visual and it's very quick and it's very easy, especially now when I'm going to use it more. I'm going to get more used to it. I'm going to get more into it. It will be quicker. And it seems I can look at it very easily. I can quickly figure out what happens, right? As you can see now, while I was talking, the light turned off cold at 12:34. So apparently, that we had under 200 lumens. Now, I don't want this to be cold all the time. I mean, it doesn't matter because the lights were already off. But maybe I want to put a time constraint on that time condition, so it's only between certain times. I might actually add that later on, so we can do that. So that's an obvious positive for me, is that you can see it very easily. It's very easy to change. It's very easy to deploy. I get a really good overview of what's happening. And then this is a workboard, right? I can have more than one flow in here. Now I renamed this flow to be turn off lights at dawn, but it could be multiple things that happens in the same flow, right? So I don't have, I'm not limited to just one automation like normally with Home Assistant. Some of the cons is that this could be difficult to share. Like how do I, that's why I asked the question before, how do I see what's happening? Now, if I want to share this with a friend, I say, oh, this is what I did. How do I export this? How do I share this flow? I'm not sure. Can I even do that? I don't know. That could be a con for me. I can't share the YAML easily. And it could be more difficult to debug. I think we can get around that though. That's one of the cons I've read. So, let me know what you think. I'm very excited about starting using Node-RED because it seems really simple. It seems really quick. It seems super powerful. Just look at the amount of nodes I have on the left, right? It's just tons of them. So yeah, let me know what I missed. That was my very quick first look at Node-RED. I'm going to use it a lot more. I'm probably going to use make some more videos on more complex things that you can do Node-RED once I get into it. But give me a like on the video if you like this, and click subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I do appreciate every subscriber. And yeah, any comments, put in the comments below. I reply to all comments, and other than that, that's it. I think I don't have anything else, but I'll see you next time. And wow, Node-RED. Yeah, okay, bye. And we're still waiting.